Hello, everybody. How are we?
Good, thanks.
Nervous? No, that's not fair. TED Talks. The amazing thing about TED Talks is you can have an idea and it can get spread. And I've got an idea. And I really enjoy sharing this idea. And I'm going to ask you today to think about the way you perceive one particular subject and whether it's the right way. What I want to talk about is something we all have in common, but we never talk about. We don't talk about it with our children. We don't talk about it with our parents. And I'm talking about aging, old age, retirement living, senior living, call it what you like. Because my idea, and it's more than an idea, it's a realization that I've had in the last 10 years, is that later living is, for many, many people, and can be, and should be, the very best years of your life. So who am I? I've been involved, well, first of all, looks are deceptive. I'm much older than I look. I've been involved in retirement communities funny enough, from Barbados. Marlo was just on a second ago. From Barbados to Basingstoke. And the idea I have is born out of this experience of meeting many, many people in these communities living their very best life. And if you go through a week and you know that you've got a great party on a Friday night, you've got a fabulous weekend coming, how much better is your week? So how much better will all our lives be if we realize that the best is yet to come? So let me start with some stats. I'm not a great fan of stats. You know what they say about statisticians? Can't even say the word. If you put their feet in the oven and their head in a freezer and you ask them how they feel, they'll say, on average, I feel fine. So here we go. By 2040, 1 in 4 of us will be over 65. So that's a quarter of us. So this is us we're talking about in years to come. 1 in 5 of us alive today will live to 100. So I've done the numbers. This means the Queen's going to have to write a letter every minute to these people. But here's the rub. 9 out of 10 of us are not looking forward to old age. So 9 out of 10 people are not looking forward to their own future. Wow. Wow. And it is a perception. It's something in your mind. Because the stats tell us, the research tells us, that the happiest year, the age when you are at your happiest, what do you think? The answer is 82. 82. I bet no one in this room thought that. So I'm going to give you some more statistics. And this idea about the best years are yet to come, best years of your life, could relate to anything, travel, enjoyment. But I'm going to talk about statistics for retirement communities. It's something I just know a lot about. So what percentage, I'll start with an easy one. What percentages of us are getting older? Obviously 100%. We all are. So that's my point. This is us in the future I'm talking about. How many times more likely are retirement village residents to participate in social activities? The answer is 5 times. You'll see where I'm going with this in a minute. What percent increase in cognitive function for residents in retirement communities? 100%, double. How many times more likely are residents to have a better quality of life in these communities? And the answer is 4 times. So here we go. We know that these communities, and my experience, because I've been, as I said, to many, and I've done about 20 in this country, when I go to these villages and I talk to people, they say, best thing I ever did. Should have done this years ago. Best time of my life. You see, overseas, they plot this. If you go to Australia, New Zealand, the US, of those over 65, about 8% live in these communities. And yet in the UK, 0.6%. So what's going on? We know how to be happy, more fulfilled, more social, happier in later living, and yet we're not doing it. How many times have you heard, and this is uniquely a British thing, have you heard people sitting in their family home saying, they'll take me out of here in a box? What's that all about? What is that all about? Is it our culture? Is it something about the fact that we're British on an island? Are we all determined to be Victor Meldrew in later life? Is it the weather? I've heard that being said before. Is it the weather? Well, do you know, I've lived abroad where it's sunny the whole time, and the beauty thing about the UK weather is the seasons. And we love our weather. We talk about it a lot. So it's not the weather. Is it the fact we haven't delivered in this country the sort of places which they have in Florida and Australia? Well, that's also not true, because we have, and there are an awful lot more coming. Perhaps it's the press. Perhaps it's the way. We all know that the press write bad stories, bad news stories, because that's what sells newspapers. If you go through a newspaper and you flick through it and you try and find a good news story, you'll very seldom find one. And we know that, don't we? And yet what we read, we believe, even though we know they're only writing the bad stuff. It's an attitude of mind. It's an attitude we all have, and it's not right. Are we scared of dying? Is that what it is? Is that what we're worried about in later life? Are we going to die? Well, of course we are. It's the big unknown. But I don't think we think about it very much. I mean, I think when you're probably a teenager is the first time you think to yourself, blimey, all this might end. But then you go through life not thinking about it. And I've met people who are very close to death, and in some miraculous way they accept it. So that's not it. And anyway, it's a bit like going to watch Titanic, the movie, and the person next door to you gives away the ending. I mean, we know what the ending is. Right? Maybe it's that we're scared of being lonely. Now, this is a big one, because in my view, and I can tell you, loneliness is the biggest killer. But again, in these retirement communities, you're not lonely, so what's all that about? You can sort that. I hear people saying, I'm far too busy to be lonely. Quote, unquote. I think people are worried in later life about deteriorating, about things going wrong. Again, that's something you can do something about, because the secret, do you know what percentage of people need no care in their lives at all? I've asked this question to many people, and the perception is wrong. The answer is 92% of people never need any care at all. And yet our perception is that our later life will always end up in a care home. It's just not true. For me, it's the language. It's the language we use, and I think this is a uniquely British thing. So let's look at the word retirement. Retire. If your kid, your son or your daughter's at school, and they've got a sports day, and they're running the 800 meters, and they come home at night and say, how was it? They say, well, I had to retire. I had to give up. I couldn't go on anymore. Poor you. This is the word we use. How many times, I go to dinner, I don't get invited to many dinner parties, but when I do, I can hear someone asking my wife across the table, so what does your husband do? And she says, well, he's in old people's homes. I've told her many times, these are retirement villages, This is an inspired place to be, old people's home. It's the language. How many times have you heard about someone being put in a home? What is that? Why are we using this language? It's like putting a dog in a kennel, being put in a home. You see, we think old, and we think negative, and we must stop. If you Google images, old person, this is what comes up. Comes up as a sad person. These are the elders of our community. This is us in years to come. They're the wise. They're the ones who have gone through their life and they've got all this experience to give back. And yet this is how we see them. This is how we see our own future. We think old people are irrelevant. In fact, we think they're expensive. Do you know the word for retirement in Spain is jubilation? Jubilation. That's a different way of looking at it. For me, we should change the language. We should start talking about the age of celebration. So this is the idea I want to spread. Imagine, what are you going to do when you get to the age of 65? I'm going to enter the age of celebration, because that's what it is, and that's what it should be. How am I doing? Any changes of thoughts? Let's get real. Let's try and work out in our own minds what is the best age. Let's go through the stages. So, is this it? You can't do what you want to do. You can't eat. You have to eat what you're told. You projectile vomit a lot, from my experience. You have to wear a nappy. That's not the best years. And then we get to the teenage years. What do you remember about this? Boys, girls, love, pain, FOMO, the fear of missing out. God, I remember that. I was talking to my daughter about this the other day. I've got 5 children, as it happens, and the youngest is 16. And she said, well, the thing is about teenage, the ups are much higher and the downs are much lower. And that's a good point. But the age when you're happiest, most fulfilled, 82. And then let's go through. So you get into your 20s. Maybe you're lucky enough to go to university. Maybe you buy your first house. Maybe you start worrying about money for the first time. Maybe you get married, maybe you have a partner, maybe you don't. Maybe you have a baby of your own. The thing I remember about babies is lack of sleep. And then we go through life working, don't we? I mean, I love my job. I love my job passionately. But it's bloody hard work. And it's very stressful. And then we could get to 65 or wherever. And we could enter the age of celebration. You see, there's a massive link, in my view, between the young and the old. What these two people have in common is freedom. The person on the left doesn't give a damn what people think, and the person on the right has learned through life experiences not to care what people think. But between the two, we go through life worrying a lot, don't we, about what people think. So the people I know on the right, living in these communities, who are living their best life and the happiest, how do they do it? Well, first of all, they live in a property. What is it in the UK about the big family home being the pinnacle of your property-owning career, and everything after that we think is a step down? I'll go out of here in a box mentality. It's just not true. You can step up into something smaller, better, more suitable, give you more freedom, where you don't have to worry about mowing the lawn. You can go on holiday, you can go away without worrying whether the lawn's been mowed. Or you spend your time doing drains and gutters. The people I know who feel this freedom, money is the other one. How do you sort out money? The thing about retirement, later living, is that your income is much more predictable. So long as your income is greater than your outgoings, sort it. And you can manage that. Whereas when you're working, it's much less predictable. Then people say to me, yeah, okay, but things go wrong. You know, the what-ifs of care, might need care. Well, again, that can be managed. And I know how this can be managed. There are some amazing agencies, domiciliary care, that come in and provide care when you need it. And you can sort that. As I say, 92% of people never need any care in their life at all. So the secret is holistic well-being. The secret is mental, physical, social well-being. Live, 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 live. Die. Live your life. Live your best life. Loneliness. I've mentioned that before. So loneliness is a big killer, but you can sort that as well. So I don't get it. I don't get, genuinely, the UK attitude to this compared to elsewhere. You see, these are real people. These are real older people being happy. Okay, this isn't a marketing picture. These are real people. And I know so many people living their best lives, and yet we don't see it. We don't think it. We did a campaign, it was called 101 Ways of How to Enjoy Getting Older, with Gloria Hunniford and Dr. Dawn Harper from Embarrassing Bodies and Christopher Biggins and various other people. We went around the country and we spoke to groups of people, really sucking out of them their tips on how to live the best life. And they came up with some interesting ones. Some of them were obvious. The first is, well, you're not working, you know? But when you stop working, you appreciate it for the first week, and then it just becomes the norm. You should appreciate it every day. I'm not working today. fulfillment. You see, time is a very precious thing. And if you have time, what are you going to do with it? And I know people in their 70s and 80s, and I ask this question, what do you want to do? And it's normally, well, I don't know. You know? Because they've been so busy mowing lawns and doing gutters and drains and things, they don't know. So then you have to ask again. You carry on asking. And eventually, they say, well, actually, I really wanted to do a degree in statistics or something, whatever. So they do it. Why not? You see, the happiest people I know in later life are using their years of experience to give back to society. Massively fulfilling giving back. That link between the old and the young is huge. It's been broken in many ways. I think through smartphones and communication. So for me, the young have lost their roots slightly, a bit wobbly, because they haven't got that connection that used to happen with the older folk. And the older folk are a bit lonely because they haven't got that. That connection between the young and the old is so important. People have learned to get rid of their rubbish. And I'm not talking about clearing out the garden shed. I'm talking about friends. You know, the negative ones. When you're younger, you worry so much about how many friends you've got on Facebook. When you get older, you realize, actually, you just want to have a smaller number of the positive ones. Life is an opportunity. It's a massive opportunity. You know, the chances of any one of us here being here, you know, and they've done the numbers, I don't know, taking into account DNA and dinosaurs and stuff, is 1 in trillions and trillions and trillions to 1. And I liken this to a door, all right? So all those trillions of people the other side of the door, and we've been lucky enough to come through the door to live this life. And when you go back through that door at the end of your life, what are you going to say? Because they're going to go, what? How was it? How was it? And what are you going to say? Because I think the older people I know are the happiest have realized this. Life is a massive opportunity, and they're making the best of it. You know, what are you going to say? Oh, I slept a lot. I watched a lot of episodes of Love Island. The people I know who are the happiest have done this lock up and leave. They've moved into a property that is managed for them, and they can go and they've got the freedom. And they focus on holistic well-being, mental, physical, social well-being. They communicate with the grandkids. And just like Marla was talking about before, they found their why, their purpose. And that's huge. And they're doing incredible things. So this sounds like a lecture, but for me, let's do this, all right? Let's share this idea, because it'll make everyone's lives better. Because the truth is it is the truth for many people. Many, many people are living their best lives in their 70s and 80s. Let's change the 9 out of 10. Let's make it 1 out of 10. Let's be the odd person out that's not looking forward to this stage of your life. Because it's all in the mind. It's all a matter of attitude. You can learn coping strategies for when things go wrong, as I've spoken about, and focus on the positives. Focus on the list of positives I've given you, because there are many of them. Let's spread this word. Let's try and change the language of retirement. Let's talk about the age of celebration. Because if we can do this, and this is why these talks are so good, because we can spread this word, then it'll make everyone's lives a little bit better. And how amazing would that be? Thank you.